And what's up, everybody? I'm back with another movie review. Today, I am reviewing Speed Racer. This movie might be a long review for this movie, and yeah, this is a movie that I think caught me off guard for the most part. I knew it existed. It released in 2008. I know it existed. I remember watching it way back when, and definitely did not remember it well at all. So I got a lot of thoughts on it. Let's just jump right into it, shall we? First off, I was very caught off guard. One of the things I was very caught off guard with was the fact that it's a live action. I guess more of a live action animated hybrid. Because there's a lot of animated scenes as well as, but live action characters. I remember it being fully animated, and I also remember it being a lot shorter. Maybe I'm mixing it with the next generation one that I also reviewed already. It might not come up before this. I think it will. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, but yeah. And to say it works badly is an understatement. You're basically putting live action characters in straight up just very anime-esque scenes, and it really does not work that well. I am talking about like the live action One Piece, which I have watched. I think that works well because they make it more live action-esque and they incorporate it much better. This movie, they kind of just like smashed two templates together and hoped it would work, and it didn't. It didn't at all. First, I mean, the character cast, they're all pretty forgettable. Though John Goodman is in this movie. What? What? Why is John Goodman in this film? Um, he's such a random character to put in this. He's such a random actor for this movie. Again, I can't say he did a terrible job. He did a fine job. He didn't, he wasn't anything special, but he wasn't terrible either. They make him a sumo wrestler, though. I guess they put him in fight scenes, and if you've seen any joke about John Goodman, you know that it's because he's fat and lazy. Used to be, at least. He's changed. He's changed now, but. So why the fuck are you putting him in fucking. Why are you putting him in fight scenes? And they were so awkward, too. They were not choreographed well. And John Goodman's doing his best here, but he doesn't have very good material to work with. This shouldn't be what he's doing. Come on. And going back to like the animation mix as well, the tracks are super jank. A lot more jank than I remember. They're even more jank than fucking Mario Kart tracks. I thought they're like Mario Kart tracks. Honestly, I think the Mario Kart tracks are a lot better. These tracks are just, and I think it goes as well as kind of like the camera angles and stuff and how they were doing with the kind of moving along with the movie. The transitions and a lot of the camera angles and just ways that they were filming the movie. I had to look away at many points because I thought I was going to get motion sickness and throw up. I don't get that really with many movies at all, but this one I definitely did, and it was very unnecessary because they were definitely going for a lot, especially with like the racing scenes and a lot of the higher end action scenes. They were going for a much more choppy, kind of in your face look. That's kind of what I mentioned with the anime stuff. It kind of follows the structure of an anime, but it's nowhere near an anime, and it all just kind of does not mesh together. And with the onboard scenes, like I said, I was getting dizzy, getting motion sickness because I just could not pay attention because of how much the camera was shaking and moving, and it just was not good at all. Also, they say the R word. Everybody should know what I'm talking about. They say that, I'm pretty sure. And it's not necessarily, I wouldn't say this is a kid's movie, but it's definitely a kid-esque movie. Why? It's a terrible language choice, in my opinion. And I guess it just kind of leads into the fact that all the dialogue's pretty bad. It's another reason why the characters look so bad. It's because they have terrible lines to work with. And it makes when they just have there's no character, there's no like conversation flow at all. There's not really any. The characters don't really show any true emotions. They all feel very forced, very fake, and it makes it really hard to get attached to any of the characters. Like even the main character, he's he's a weird guy. Let's just say that, and they don't write him very well, so it's hard for me to get attached to him. It's also really hard to get attached to any of the characters because a lot of the characters are just coming and going throughout this movie. There's a lot of characters that we don't see very much until the very end, but they end up being like big name pieced characters. Whereas there's some that are at the beginning of the movie that they makes it think they're establishing them as main characters, and then they stop showing up like a quarter of the way through the film and don't come back. That was weird. Okay, cool. Weird stuff. And then there's some stuff later on that makes it feel like Cars 2 before Cars 2 came out. This came out 3 years before Cars 2 did. And there's definitely a lot of Cars 2-esque scenes. I would not be surprised if the people that make Cars 2 took a look at this movie and said, yeah, we want some of this in our film. Would not be surprised at all. There's some stuff at the end of the movie as well that just really gets to me, like that big cross country race that they do. That totally isn't breaking any international laws at all. Totally not. Come on, of course it's not. That's just not, clearly they don't just let people get away with attempted murder at all or anything like that. And I think the movie could have very well easily ended after the cross country race as well. This movie is very, very long. It's over 2 hours long, which I think is way too long for a movie of this caliber. And the fact that it wasn't written or produced very well at all, kind of jank across all that. The pacing, honestly, though, isn't terrible. I was expecting it to be way worse than it is. But the cross-country race could have definitely been the end of the film. There was a lot of symbolic stuff, a lot of loose ends that they tied at that point in the film. And I think the Grand Prix didn't need to happen. I still think it's a fairly decent ending considering what they were working with here. But it does make it feel like it drags on a little bit. And then the final part that really annoys me is the whole thing with the reveal of the guy in that yellow car, that 9 car, being Speed Racer's brother who was supposed to be dead, and we find out isn't dead, and we get this whole story about it, and they speculate like he's absolutely sure that it's his dead brother, but then the guy's like, no, I'm not, and he's dead, and he's not me. And then later on we find out that he is, and he got plastic surgery and faked his death. And now he's here. I don't know. It just doesn't. It doesn't feel right, in my opinion, at least. It doesn't feel right to me. I think it would have been cooler. I think it would have been a better character development arc that they could have worked with if Speed Racer knew it was his brother. Maybe they could have picked up the pacing a little bit better on the cross country segment and been able to incorporate that. And I definitely think they could have worked with some good stuff there. Granted, they probably would have butchered it like they did a lot of the scenes in this movie. Especially that father-son bonding thing, and then, completely interrupted by the lady and all that sort of stuff. But I don't know. That last part just doesn't sit right with me at all. And I don't know. It just doesn't. I didn't like it. Didn't like it at all, to say that. So. But anyways, that's going to do it for this review. I was expecting this movie to be flat out terrible. It's not flat out terrible, but it's very close. It's not a good movie by any means. I watched it. I can say I watched it. And that's really all I care about. So, for my final score, though, for Speed Racer, I'm going to have to give it a 4. Give it a 4 out of 10. So, that's going to do it for this review, though. If you've ever seen Speed Racer, I'd love to know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. And that's going to do it for this video as well. So stay tuned for much more amazing content, including more movie reviews and other awesome stuff. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.